guys, so today's video is all on dupes. I have gathered a while back, like months and months and months ago, I asked on Instagram if anybody knew of any polishes that were supposed to be dupes for hard to find polishes, and I took what you guys had mentioned and gathered them all together and compared them for today's video. So I'm going to start with one that was a little like weird for me, and I didn't even want to include it in the video, but I'd already bought the polishes. So I had been told that there were a couple dupes for China Glaze Flip Flop Fantasy, and so I picked up the dupes, and then I realized that they're dupes for the new version, not the original version. You can see this one is a lot more orange, this one is very pink. I have yet to find a dupe for the original Flip Flop Fantasy that everyone loves so much. Unfortunately, the two that I was told were dupes for the new version, which you don't really need to dupe because you can still get this one. So I'll go over them because I did buy them, but just know that they're dupes for the new version, not the old version. So the first one was Flamingo Flair from Salon Perfect. You can get these at Walmart. They are fairly inexpensive. The difference that I had, okay, Flip Flop Fantasy, first of all, is it's sheer, it's streaky, 3 coats, maybe 4, depends on your application. You don't really need a white base, but it would definitely cut down on the number of coats that you need. But it is super bright, like a bright neon kind of peach color, the new one anyway. So this is the Salon Perfect one. So color-wise, this is just a little tiny bit darker than the China Glaze. Formula-wise, it is much thicker, and it dries quickly because it dries matte. The China Glaze dries matte too, but it dries so fast that you get like ridges in the nail where you can't smooth the coat out before it starts to dry. So it smooths out with top coat, but as far as the application goes, I didn't like this one nearly as much. I would rather do like 3 coats of this than have to do like 2 coats of this because it was very difficult for me to work with. The other dupe was from Julia G, and this one is Bikini. The color was just a tiny bit lighter than the new Flip Flop Fantasy. Formula-wise, it was very, very close. It was just a tiny bit streakier, but not by much. So I would say that as far as dupes go, this one is not an exact dupe, but it is the closest of the 2 that I tried. So the next polish that I wanted to try to dupe was OPI's Merry Midnight. I did not even know that this was like a hard to find OPI, and I went to IMATS last year with Holly and Lindsay and Zenora, and Holly just kind of like dove into the nail polish, like surfaced, threw this at me, and then dove back in, and so I bought it. I had no idea. I really like this. This is like a deeper purple jelly base with a ton of like rainbow shifting flakies, not like multi-chrome flakies, but like the real deal original flakies, and I like this a lot. So the formula with this is thin. It's very thin, it's very sheer. It takes 3 coats to build up to get the color that's in the bottle because it has a very like kind of pinky base, and it is sheer at first. So the first dupe that I had for that one was Orly's Fowl Play, which is funny because this had been on my wish list for a while. No idea that it was a dupe for this, or supposed to be a dupe for this. So the flakies in here are identical. They're those same rainbow shifting flakies. This one is in a darker base, and it is more opaque. So it's in a darker base where this one kind of comes off like kind of pinky purple on the first couple coats. This one is like real deal plum purple. And it is darker, and it does build up better. There are more flakies in this one than there are in the OPI, but color-wise, it's just a little bit darker. The other one that I have is from China Glaze, and this is Howl Doin. This is from a holiday collection a few years back. This one has a darker base. It is much, much, much more purple. It is more opaque, the most opaque out of the 3, but the difference with this is that the flakies in here don't seem to be those rainbow color shifting flakies. I think they're like the next generation flakies after those rainbow ones got really hard to find. So they don't have the same shift, and then this has like a dark purple micro glitter in it as well that's not apparent in the other 2. So even though neither one of the dupes is like really super close in color, I would say that the Orly one is probably the closest to Merry Midnight, just because the China Glaze, like, it really does look different after you get it on the nail. I'm saving the best for last. So we're moving on to OPI's Teenage Dream. This is a super hard to find polish now. It was very, very popular. It came from the Katy Perry collection. It's this holographic silver micro glitter with a finer pink glitter, and I feel like it's in a slightly pink tinted base. So this can be used as a topper, or you can build it up on its own in a few coats. I prefer the way it looks on its own. So I have 2 dupes here. The first one is from Milani. I had to get this online. Sorry, I'm reading my notes very badly on camera. This is called Pink Flair. The glitter in this one is nearly identical with a very fine pink glitter and then that silver holographic micro glitter, like the same size and everything. This has a much more vibrant pink base though, so it definitely looks different when you put them together. I would say the glitter distribution is pretty much identical in this one, but the base is so much more pink. rather than like the pale pink that's in the OPI, that this wasn't a very good dupe for me because the difference is very stark when you have them together. The other one that I picked up is from Sally Hansen Extreme Wear, and this is Strobe Light. This, I thought at first that this was less of a dupe than the Milani because the glitter looks so different. It's a lot more sparse. The base is clear, so it doesn't have that tint to it. This has a lot more smaller glitter, and it doesn't have that very fine dusting of holographic silver that the other two have. However, once you build this up on its own in about 3 coats, it is nearly identical to Teenage Dream. It is very close, very hard to tell the difference, and I'm really impressed because this is, I mean, I don't think this is, I got this at the drugstore. It's got the new Extreme Wear label on it, so this isn't an old polish. You should be able to find this, but in 3 coats, nearly identical. So the last ones that I have are for Sally Hansen's Pacific Blue. So this is the original Sally Hansen Pacific Blue. It was discontinued last year. Changed, I guess, but it's pretty much discontinued because the newer one is totally different. This is a really popular polish. Everyone really likes this. My bottle is about halfway down, so mine is a 1-coater because it has thickened up a little bit. A brand new bottle will be close to a 1-coater, but not quite. It will need 2. I have this, and then I have 4 dupes for that one. The first one that I have is an indie dupe that I picked up from Envy Lacquer, and this is called Blue Pacific 421 because the color number on Pacific Blue is 420. So the very first issue that I have with this Envy Lacquer one, it is so separated. There is so much of the blue pigment separated from the white. It was like this when I got it, but as it's sat, it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. It looks terrible on the outside of the bottle. It looks terrible. I can't shake it. I can't get it to mix together. However, when I was applying it, I didn't have any white streaks when I was applying it, so it doesn't seem to affect the actual color of the polish on your nails. It's just really unattractive in the bottle. This one is a 1-coater, so it is a little bit thick, and it is a little bit darker than Pacific Blue. I wouldn't say it's an exact dupe. The color is noticeably darker. While the formula is close to my halfway down bottle, like I said, it's a little bit thicker and it is a 1-coater, but the color is just a little bit off, and then you've got that separation. But like I said, the separation doesn't really affect the application of the polish too much. It didn't have any white streaks on my nails. So the next one I have is from Barry M, and this is Damson. I actually got this from my swap with Amy at Nail Polish Baby 90. This is formula-wise, this is very close. It is nearly a 1-coater, just like Pacific Blue is when it's brand new, and this bottle's pretty much brand new, so I would assume that if it got down to where my Pacific Blue was, it would probably be the same formula, just about a 1-coater. This is just slightly lighter than the original Pacific Blue. You can barely tell the difference on the nail, so this is a really good dupe. The next one that I have is from Julie G. This one is called Cabana Boy, and I'm gonna read my notes again. This one is slightly darker in color than the original Pacific Blue, but the biggest thing with this is the formula. It is sheer, it is streaky. Color, I mean, if you're really desperate for the color, this is probably a good match color-wise if you can't get the Berry M because it's not available everywhere. But formula-wise, this is pretty sketchy compared to the really good formula that Pacific Blue has. So it's close in color, but the formula is not close at all. So the next one I have is Epic from Sally Girl. This is a little itty-bitty tiny mini polish that you can get at Sally's Beauty Supply. This is pretty much an exact dupe for the Julie G, so it's going to be the same, just a little bit darker than the original Pacific Blue color. Formula is better than the Julie G. It's a 2-coater. And it's a little bit thinner, but it's really close. So I think overall, the Sally Girl has got that dusty quality that the Berry M doesn't seem to have in the bottle, but once you put them next to each other on the nail, they're nearly identical. So I would say the Berry M is your best bet if you can get your hands on it, because it is pretty much identical to Pacific Blue, just a little bit different. And then if not, then the Sally Girl, it's 99 cents for a little itty-bitty tiny bottle, so you would have to replace it a lot. But I would say that as far as the US goes, this is going to be your best dupe for formula and color. So those are my dupes. I will link Envy Lacquer down below if you guys are interested in checking any of those out. I'll have everything that I said, which one was the closest dupe, and list all the polishes down below. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you later. Bye.